point. You know what I'm saying? It's like certain words he says, it sounds like he damn near can't even breathe out his nose or something. You know, like I forget the word for it. It's hard to describe it, but y'all know what I'm talking about. That he just had a certain voice where you know that's Gucci. You know what I'm saying? The authentic, real Gucci. And now, man, that was another clip I saw where somebody compared him talking, and man, he just don't sound the same at all. Now I know when you lose weight, Gucci was almost 300 pounds. When you lose weight, everything becomes a little more clear. You know what I'm saying? I know that. I'm not denying that. You can breathe better, all kind of stuff, right? But it still remains that the authentic, real Gucci, y'all, I just think it's gone, man. I think this is a mystery we may never come to a conclusion about or really ever know the truth. We are really watching someone impersonate Gucci. Where y'all think they get these movie ideas from? Where the hell you think Get Out came from? You know what I'm saying? And movies alike. Black Box, all these consciousness transfer movies and clone shits and all that. Where do y'all think these movies come from? They come from real life, y'all. Real life. And I really think, man, this is one of the deeper stories. And I hope there's something that, we can connect to one day and, more truth comes out. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I just know this one is a major head scratcher. We will forever be wondering what really happened to the OG Gucci. Did he really die in jail? At first, I kind of found out I was like a transgender guy trying to lick his ice cream cone cat. It's like somebody was trolling with that one. But a lot of people thought that. Like a lot of people thought he died in jail. Said he bled out in jail, got into it with the officers or was stabbed up. And I don't know. Y'all. I mean, for me, it almost seemed like the old Gucci is like, ain't no way he going out like that. Ain't no way he got stabbed up by some gang members or something in the jail. They would have had to got him with the officers or something like that. It's like, oh, dude, ain't no way he going out like that. Gucci like 6'4", 6'5", 300 pounds at that time. Just, man, I don't know, y'all. But whatever it was, when he went in to that federal prison, wherever he supposedly went, for 3 years, the Gucci we knew, he ain't come back out. Gucci no more. Yeah, man, I think we'll go ahead and just leave it right here.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Draymond Green Show. I am excited as hell to be back. Man, it's been about 5 months since I got to chop it up with you all. But the NBA season is back, so we are back. And I couldn't be more excited. Some things have changed. I am a part of the Odyssey team now. So I am excited to be a member of the team. It's been great putting everything together. The team has been great, and the product will be great and better. So that's what this is about. Today's episode, we will get into the state of the NBA. I will personally check in with you all just on how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, individually, team-wise, NBA-wise. Obviously, we'll have some Warriors talk. We will talk the big gambling scandal. And then I'll share just some of my overall thoughts on the league, players, who's been hot. Yeah, that would be crazy. Like that'll be mind-blowing to me if I could play 15 years in the NBA. But here I sit at 14 and I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna play longer than 15. I was talking to Mike Dunleavy, general manager of the Warriors. I was like, man, sitting there talking like I feel incredible. Like my game is starting to round into form. Like I actually feel more ready for the season, like 2 days leading into the season today, than I even did in year 6 or 7. Like I feel like I done found a rhythm already. And it's interesting just how much as you go the further you go, how much you know exactly what you need. Like I've always come into every season like with the question of did I do enough in the summer? Like just always every year I would come into the season like I just don't with the fear of I just don't know if I did enough. This year I came into the season knowing I did more than enough. Like I'm totally fine. I'm gonna find my rhythm, but I'm good. Like I've done enough. Like I'm ready. I'm in a perfect spot. As this camp go, I want to cut 5 pounds. I want to do this. I'm gonna keep working on it. Like me and Trav getting in the gym extra. Christian, young fellow on our staff, Jacob Rubin, like we're getting our work in. And it timed up so perfect to be ready for the season. I was like, man, I told Mike though, I said, Mike, I feel so great. I'm gonna say this to you now. I said, man, but last week I didn't know like if my game was coming around fast enough. I said, so I started to wonder. He was like, and he chuckled and laughed, and he looked and he said, you started to wonder what, like, was it not coming back? I said, yes, like, it's like, damn, is it happening to me now? You know, like, because one thing's for certain, when you start to lose your game, when your athleticism started to go down, you know first, you know before anybody else. Some people fight it more than others, but you know first. Like, it's not like a reporter's going to be like, oh man, it looked like so and so slowed down and don't jump as high. No, you know first. And so I'm like, yeah, Mike, man, I was wondering, like, man, is this starting to happen to me now? And he started laughing. He was like, no, I know exactly what you're saying because that's kind of how it goes. Like, you don't know. And then you look back and you're like, oh, like, okay, like I see it happening. And I was like, yeah. I said, but I feel so good now. And rightfully so, you know, coming into the season, I feel great. I feel my shot feel great. Um, my game feel great. I feel like I can make the reads, like my passing, like I can make the passes. I can see it and make it. Like that rhythm came back. You know, preseason a little bit, and you see a pass. That's crazy because I told JK a couple of times he liked that live, and I'm like, JK, I saw you, but my body ain't reacting fast enough yet to actually get the pass there. But I just want you to know I saw you. You keep making that cut. I'll in a week or so, I'll get it to you. And so that's where I'm at now. Like all of that stuff has come together, and I feel great. But it came together like right when it needed to come together. And so it's like that intuition of like, yo, you know exactly what you need. And like I didn't even have to question myself this year. So man, I'm excited as hell. Defensively, you know, I feel like defensively right now, I feel like I can see everything like it's
18. Can everyone see me okay?
Yes, sir. I can see you.
Yep. Good. Yeah, because I can't see you. I tore my contact lens right before this meeting, and now I'm being that guy. You're not on mute, dude.
Is he okay?
Whoops, going on mute. Thank goodness 1-800-CONTACTS makes it super easy to order new lenses. And their teleported one-day shipping helps out in situations like this. You know what? I'm just going to clock out for the day.
Now, we all know about the interview that Cat Williams had with Shannon Sharp. That was probably one of the first times that exposing the industry went viral, right? I mean, there have been other people who exposed what's going on, the demonic nature of the industry, but that was the interview that really set a dot.
This is Alexander once again on display. This is Alexander draws the foul.
Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, is LA Knight being under-pushed by WWE?
Potential spoilers for Saturday night's main event.
An update on some AEW originals leaving the company.
And we've got another dreadful idea to tell you about. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm full of dreadful ideas, boy.
This is the news.
All right, let's kick this one off by talking about LA Knight.
Yeah.
He has been the subject of much debate this week. Coming out of this week's episode of Raw, I mean, it's been going for a while. But since he lost to Braun Breaker on this week's episode of Raw, a lot of people have been talking about this feud. A lot of people have been wondering, why is this guy not getting pushed for? A lot of people have been asking, is he going to be a world champion?
A lot of people have been saying, you know what would really get him over? Have him lose his voice.
Yeah, great idea, Bully Ray. Have you even seen the Big B coming out for this? The Big B word.
Ooh, Buzz.
Buried.
Oh, sorry.
Burial. Buzz. Buzz Lightyear. Bees.
Holland and Brian Danielson, is that?
B. Brian Blair, I believe. But yeah, so like a lot of people have been annoyed at his position in the card. So what I decided to do was poll you, the viewer of the What Culture Wrestling YouTube channel, on our community page yesterday. And the results were very interesting. It was a very simple question. By the way, terrible job out of me not making the options yeah and no. I just said
I always tell my students, why yes when you can measure? Arcos is an amazing system. It helps you measure and track your shots while you play, see your statistics after you play, and also helps you with real-time adjusted distances on the course. Play smarter with Arcos.
yes and no. Awful job. I dropped the ball. I apologize.
Yeah, and Nana!
Does LA Knight deserve a bigger push in WWE? 4,300 people replied. Yes! 84%.
Whoa!
It's on your screen right
It's a
now.
landslide.
It's crazy. Crazy. No, obviously, was then 16%. Yeah, that's how it adds up.
Makes
So
sense.
most people that are watching our videos believe that LA Knight is under push. I'm going to read you some of the comments.
So the intelligent people think that LA Knight's under push.
Yeah, there
And
you
the
go.
handsome ones.
The intelligentsia. I'll read you some of the comments here because some of them are pretty balanced and interesting.
Which is rare on the internet.
Yeah, but not rare among our audience.
Absolutely.
This is the upper crust. This is the intelligentsia. High Heel Knight said, just because you're not winning matches or titles at the moment, it doesn't mean you aren't getting a major push. The chase is as important as the victory. I agree wholeheartedly. Somebody else said, I suppose, I mean, he's over as hell and his character work is top tier. I just find his matches incredibly boring for the most part. So a common criticism of him is that the character work is kind of up here, and the matches are, good.
3 stars.
Yeah, they're not as great as
I think that's a fair assessment, yeah.
promos are tremendous. Somebody else said, absolutely, he has more than proven his worth. It took a while, but I'd say he's more over now than a lot of the faces at the moment. Give him a run with the belt and see if he can carry the ball. If he can, great, you have a superstar. If not, hey, at least he earned a short run, and if it fails, it's easy enough to have him drop it, but he has earned the chance. Another person, last comment I'll read, says, his character work is good, but everything else is pretty average. Personally, I would rather see Sammy get another push or KO when he's back from injury. Just seems like it's all the same storyline at the moment and there's no real creative storytelling. So, what do you think of LA Knight and his...
I think it's a very fair assessment from our audience, and I'm inclined to agree with it. Particularly with this time of year, and obviously the pivot they've had to do with Seth Rollins. I think, why not give him a run as champion? Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, or if you just decide it's not really what we want going into WrestleMania, you can switch it around sort of January time, and he's had a little brief run. You've tried him out. He can say he's been a world champion. You can always come back to this. And I just think it's... But I agree also, it is also in the chase for LA Knight.
Yeah.
I think that the thing is, I think some people may conflate him not being in the title match for Saturday Night's main event as the same as him losing to, like, no offense, Akira Tozawa.
Sure.
He's losing to people like Braun Breaker. He's always in and around, like, fatal 4-ways for the title, or he's there or just thereabouts in, like, the Battle Royals and what have you. I think it is coming for LA Knight. I wonder if they decide, let's say, for example, that Jey Uso, more on that in a second, wins the title at Saturday Night's main event. I don't know if I agree with it or not, in the sense there's going to be a big old schmaltz.
Yeah.
But why not? The backlash on that will be, no doubt, horrific online, at least.
Yes, again.
Why not put it on LA Knight? Give it LA Knight for the rest of 2025. That's what I'd say.
I'm in an interesting spot with this because I think that you could give him a short run with the world title, and I think he's over enough for it. I also think his current push is absolutely fine.
I agree.
I think he's in a really good look. He's a very over upper mid carder. That's a great spot to be. Not everyone gets a shot. We shouldn't get to the point where he works hard. He should get a title run. No, it should be the person you could do the best business with at that time. So if you think you can do the best business with LA Knight at the time, sure, go for it. But also, I don't think it's any great problem if he never wins it because he's upper mid card. He's over. We all love watching the promos. We all love the catchphrases. We all love going, yeah, when we're in the building and all that stuff. And the matches are fine. Look, he's not Bryan Danielson,
no,
but he's good enough.
Absolutely.
He's certainly, I would say, a better singles wrestler than Jey Uso.
Yes.
Like, night and day, pardon the pun.
Not Jey.
Why am I pink? I don't know. But yeah, obviously a lot of people talking about this.
I think a lot of people are also getting worked by this. Like, they're not burying him.
He's not buried for a start.
He's not losing, I just want to skim the seat. They're doing this so more and more people go, come on, LA Knight. So when that does eventually happen, which, as I say, I think it will. And like, it's not the business isn't about this anymore. But like you say, in terms of putting someone out there as a public facing company, like Cody's the QB, obviously. So you might as well give someone else a bit of a chance with, let's be honest, a slightly lesser world title with the world heavyweight title. There's always been a kind of discrepancy there. But like, can you imagine? I don't know. Good Morning America, LA Knight on there. It'd be loads of fun.
Yeah, it'd be tremendous. Look, I think he's good. I like him. He's over. He's fun.
Thanks for voting.
Who doesn't like LA Knight? But let us know in the comments what you think. Do you think he should get a big should he be world champion? Or do you think this is all mental and he's rubbish?
Has he got the shoes of a champion?
Has he got the shoes of a champion? This is what we're asking you to do, my very good friends. He certainly hasn't got the belt of a champion at the moment.
No, not yet.
Hardly got an outfit on him, this guy.
But speaking of Saturday night's main event, some very interesting reveals from the odds. It's weird, this. I always find it weird when you have odds on professional wrestling, considering it's a work. But nevertheless, like you say, the fascination around this World Heavyweight title match on Saturday has people a little bit all over the place with the odds betting. So people like Bet Online, all the sports books, just as an example, CM Punk is favoured over Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight title match. Not as heavily as the likes of Jay Cargill and Cody Rhodes.
Here comes a fair and unbiased official. Oh, wait, you actually believe that?
In terms of a lot, in terms of Bet the House, currently seeing legal license is the strongest bet, which I completely agree with. And I think, they did the whole, no one wins the match, it's been no title, right? No triple threat, no people so argue.
Okay, craziest touchdown ever. Tennessee Titans. You should see here. I called it. Yeah, I told everybody it was about to see.
You don't tell anybody nothing. That's a fib. New customers bet $5 to get 300 of your bet. Instantly in bonus.
Feel that excitement in the air? Everyone loves the unpredictability of a guest referee. Unless you're the one who has to put up with his interpretation of the rules.
Yeah, that's exactly how it's going to be. We love picking each other and going to see who is going to be. It'll be like what I guess Tiffany and I had Jake Curtis was supposed to be the other week and all that kind of.
I don't worry that.
Yeah, I mean, Jane Sheepling, obviously. I don't think he should that go to him and then just have to use that. That would be rubbish. Yeah, that could be good. Let's go with that anyway. I think that's the best story to tell with Jade. Issuing Bianca's finger or whatever is ready to go. Jeez, that's me. The world title is obviously the big one, the one that people are debating the most. Jey Uso and Chipman Phil. Chipman, that's his name. That's it. That's what. Simon Theodore. Eddie Long. Theodore. There you go. Alvin Stardust.
Do you think that match was that? Yeah, do you think that match doesn't then let it play
Yeah, probably.
It's Cody Drew just main event, haven't they?
Yeah. Usually you look at what matches are winning games open. That's it. But yeah, in this case, this has a Jey Uso winning, honestly. So
Yeah, so that's all 10 minutes before the show starts. Saturday night's main event's kind of a quick show.
Yeah, get everyone pumped up, do a big ring entrance, start it off right. Yeah, I could see it happening for sure. And I do think there will be a lot of chicanery, shenanigans, and everything in between. Life is like, as the Iron Man famously said, life is like a box of chocolates and everyone in between. JOC.
Yeah, that's how I always remember the line. Run, Leanne!
Mind games begin immediately. Such an intimidating tactic.
You can't stop
What their plan is here. A plan.
Triple H
They're just here to create havoc and destruction.
This is WrestleMania season!
Oh, politics are coming, baby. Politics are coming. Right, let's talk now about some updates on a couple of AEW originals, maybe leaving the company. We've been talking about them for months. They haven't wrestled in AEW since January. They've only worked House of Glory since then, once. It's Private Party, Quen and Zay, or Mark Quen and Isaiah Cassidy. They've changed their ring names over a few times. They were under Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's go. But yeah, update here for Fightful. So it was reported earlier in the year that their contracts were coming up. By the Observer in the summer, Fightful followed up and said the WWE were. First of all, before we talk about the contracts, we got a very important update on them getting jacked. Okay.
And here they go.
Who's been helping you get jacked in AEW?
Bobby Lashley.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Completely guess. I've read that story before. But I thought, if I was in the AW locker room, I should be,
Yeah.
who would I turn to work out, right? And it would be Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, it would be Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So we've seen pictures of Mark Quen in particular. He's huge. He's
massive now, isn't he?
They've been working with the Hurt Syndicate. So apparently the Hurt Syndicate took a liking to them. MVP was previously said that he used to work with them and stuff. Yeah, and apparently the Syndicate and Private Party, they've been spending time together, and the Hurt Syndicate have been helping them with the gym stuff.
Banging.
Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah. And people said the Hurt Syndicate have been very helpful with this. So, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, if you were in AEW, you want to get jacked.
We were wrong.
Bobby and Shelton, help me out.
It's a scary thing to do to first move up. Can you make me look like you?
Yeah. How do I go from like, I mean, they were in good shape already in Private Party, but how do we get just jacked?
Is that a sign they're probably more likely to go to the Fed?
We should all be jacked.
I'm going to get jacked next year. We're moving offices.
You're
not doing about these amazing chairs.
If you do more than 2 sessions a month in that gym, I will buy you a pass here. Yeah. Yeah, you're never going, man. None of us are going.
I'm going to be playing and banging the rotten dream because I can use it. I'm dripping with sweat. January. I guarantee it's one of those things that I'm going to go a bit and be like, see, Andy, I told you, February's going to
yes, well, that's like, what little difference does that make?
Still cold, went spring in.
But not on Private Party's future, which is what you're here for. Their contracts, so they are still under contract apparently. But things get a little complicated because there's a chance their contracts might not done at the same time.
The Fiend wants you to let him in,
They
to
can
allow
always
him to get in your head so he can destroy you from the inside out, leaving nothing behind but an empty shell.
Fightful have not heard if they prefer to stay or go or whatever, but WWE are interested in them. They're getting jacked. The contracts might expire at different times. That's the too long thing for that point. I think you've already watched it, so
yeah, it's one of those things now where the start of this year, this period of time, I think you went sort of 90% towards go to WWE. You've kind of done everything in AEW in that recent history.
The face
that
of fear
didn't really take us to get it. They've gone away now.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling really creeped out right
either
now.
way it works out. Really
it's almost like the Fiend is not human. Perhaps more than human. Either way, he's absolutely disturbing.
I'm giving you another terrible idea. This from directly
twisted
individual. This is my Billy Ray pitching. LA Knight losing his voice. This is Drew McIntyre talking about
WWE Universe. It's time to get the table.
The first. Well, he was recently on the no contest wrestling podcast. No contest podcast happened. It's not hard. Saturday.
And at a combined weight
of 603 tidbits regarding a pitch against West Guinea.
It's been a long road from Dudleyville to the showcase of the Immortals.
The runway,
Yeah, the
man.
Dudleys
It's like,
have
oh,
been
good.
synonymous with classic
John
TLC
Laurinaitis.
matches at
I was listening to him
WrestleMania,
describe
and they
that,
are
and I
ready
thought,
to
oh
unleash
no, oh
more
no, oh
power
no.
tonight.
And then he went from
Well, I have never heard so many people chanting for tables, and the Dudleys look set to deliver
I was
on that
picturing in my
promise.
head, basically all of my dreams were going to hell, the life's work of the Scotsman all going down the toilet. He also subsequently described how it worked, mixed around to making sure that he realised that he's not going to do this. Yeah. So he was in the room, as John Laurinaitis was like, Vince is not looking at it, and you know it's Vince, and you know it's kind of booky. But yeah, as Vince said, the next meeting after Johnny was to go. Sorry, the next week after Johnny was to go to Vince himself and pitch this idea. And kind of sat silent as Johnny pitched it to Vince. And I think Vince saw my face stuff at the time. Just said, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Whatever you need me to do, I'll make it work." But I had my head down the whole time. Thinking regularly, Vince wants to do this. Yeah. Kind of the best. Like the chosen one gimmick obviously didn't really work after Drew. It worked initially, and I quite liked him as a character, but obviously it's subsequently left the company.
So that's what it's all about, the tag team titles. WCW Tag Team Champion.
Every meal is delivered fresh, never frozen, and delivered straight to my door, ready to heat and eat in less than 2 minutes. No more grocery runs after work. The food is so good, you'll want to order seconds, but with hundreds of weekly options, you'll never have to. So if you don't have the time to work out and cook, sign up for Cooking.
He's really trying to sneak this win early. A kick out. This one's not over yet. Not even a 2 count for him. He counters with a great reversal.
Yeah. I know this is me to the story.
On the heel hook. Stretch. A no DQ stipulation means you have to throw your regular playbook out the window. This is not going to save you. You cover here.
Yeah,
And he gets the
for
us to stay.
This is dog ass. The Scots control it.
Right to the
Here we go.
kidneys.
He's got me.
And come on now. Distasteful offense we've just witnessed.
It's like sit off the mat.
He is getting rid of the turnbuckle pad. Don't say that too loud, Saxon. I can call it.
But this is dog ass idea.
He said these terrible things that wrestlers have been pitched because they were just
switch out the official in the middle of a match.
I mean, okay, so right, the model gimmick, right? Plenty of examples of it in wrestling. It works really well for because they're a group of guys and they lean into it and they love it. They're great. They're really fun. They're the funniest people in wrestling. This sport.
Gets the shoulder up. He is definitely struggling to keep him down at this point. And he comes in under the ropes now.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm talking about it a little bit. So I think
we're world champion already.
Yeah. So I think the parallel to this is probably with Martel coming into WWE decades ago, right? Because in the AWA, Martel was one of the best wrestlers in America. So he comes into WWE, gets with display I think it's a fun gimmick. It's a really fun gimmick, and I loved it. And it made the most, like, he made the most of it, is what I'm trying to say. And it's not a world championship, right? But if you get Scott Saddle with something like that back then, in 1992 or whatever, it was a problem. If you get Saddle with that in the 2000s, you're definitely the world champion, man. So it's good that he got out of this. It works for some people, it doesn't work for everyone, and I think really
A licensed official's count has to keep a steady pace.
yeah,
That's
no,
what he did.
another example of it being good. Yeah, right there.
So it's the two options that the two what's the idea for what's the answer now? It's one answer.
If we look at that.
And even back then before the news chain,
He is down there.
it's really the first way to do it. watching the back, or Vince McMahon's chosen wrestler who he announced ahead of time is going to be the world champion. I know it didn't work out, but like,
absolutely. I don't think like the Marvel gimmick you see is charisma either. Like you think about MXN, you think about either Bleach, like they're like funny guys, right? I'm not saying Drew's funny, but he's got a different kind of personality. It don't really work. His aura is dead. So he's great. I mean, VLC is classic. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't so great, but it was good, so, you know.
Positioning the arm. Oh, man, leg drop, arm breaker.
That's good. I'll keep doing matches, just keep playing.
Yeah, I'm a dad, and I'm struggling, so making the world champion. Enjoy this, thank you very much. Last week, game night.
Yeah.
Anything else in the comment section below. Check out the video. I don't know how we're going to fit it between us on this attempt we set we have here, but it's in here somewhere. Bye.
Bye.
Goes under the ropes and into the ring. Ouch. And this one might be headed ringside. Boom! Scorpion death drop. Running STO plants him. Nicely done. Up the electric chair, down for the... All the way up. Sidewalk slam delivered. Right the eyes. Wear and tear this match is clearly starting to get to him. Stopping the ref's count at 2. Nice work fighting off the pin attempt. Right on top of the action, calling it down the middle. Rapid knee strikes. He's headed to the top now and enters back into the ring.
So I wanted the conversation today about why can't LA Knight win the World Cup? Why do you feel like every time they are pushing him closer to the top, like he's getting involved in the major programs, that it never really goes on? You can't sit here and say that LA Knight is buried in that WWE hates him. WWE hates the guy. But then on occasion, he wouldn't be on TV and he would do something else. He is in a dominant spot. Every week, he's on the field. He's not as consistently as some people would like, but he is heavily featured. His crowd reactions are huge. Black fans love it. But I'm sure he has the first story of LA Knight in WWE. So kind of reaching its peak because it seems to keep happening over and over this way. What I mean is, he goes into WWE and gets to the main roster after his stint in NXT. He's brought up as next to Creed, right? We go through that whole situation. It's just the worst. Quickly gets out of it, becomes LA Knight again. He's cutting almost Raw, SmackDown. He has his first real feud with Bray Wyatt. He's got Mountain Dew match. And for something as silly as that, he made it work with a 2-for-1 special champion. The match was good, but then on SmackDown after that whole thing on the Bray, he didn't do too much. Then he started creating the, State Championship, right? Eventually getting that title, having almost, everything program with Logan Paul, and actually the U.S. title. So it felt like, oh, okay, he was going to be in the mid-card. And he had moments where he's fighting with John Cena, he's going after Roman Reigns, they nudged him. They moved him into that main event scene. That's all the U.S. title stuff, and spinning his wheels around towards the end of that. Instead of going the roads and getting involved in the WWE Championship scene, they move him over to Raw. Now for me, I thought this was a really good idea. Didn't make a lot of sense. There's no draft, there's no trade. He just showed up because he was getting involved with Bloodline, with Braun, and Bronson, and Seth. It made sense in that regard that he would show up and try to get off the set. And as I kind of go through the timeline here a bit, he gets the match at Saturday Night Main against Seth Rollins. Seth fits the injury, but all in that week. And then, nothing. He got opportunities that doesn't feel. He used to do a 4-way match, he'd go there for the world title. But lately, this year, especially in the run, with all the business stuff and everything, we see him from Jey Uso,
LA Knight has always felt like he's third in line, or fourth in line. He's hovering, he's involved, but he's not the main character. He's not the main focus. For example, Cody is the main focus over on SmackDown. Seth has obviously been the main focus for the World title. CM Punk, and now Jey Uso wins the Battle Royal, and he's going to face Punk at Saturday night's main event. And LA Knight, in promos, on TV, goes out there and talks about how he beat Seth one-on-one, he hasn't had his shot at the world title. That in character, he's been screwed over a lot. We talked the other day about how the Battle Royal really showed that there were some issues from the very top level of WWE. And if you look at WWE's YouTube, the Jey Uso Battle Royal win is extremely downvoted. And at least in our little community here, one of the biggest things from touching on Jey Uso's win was how much of the comments were LA Knight should have won. Now, do you agree or disagree with this? Should LA Knight have won the Battle Royal? Would it even matter? Because we don't know. And that's the thing, too. And I've seen these comments and feedback is that, hey, let it just play out, Tommy. There you go. But let it all play out because you don't know what's going to happen. It's very true. We don't know. We see something really cool happen at Saturday night's main event. We see nothing of it. It could be just a whole big old wash. But I think people are starting to realize LA Knight's probably not wrestling for the next 10 years. He's very, very popular. People like his promos. And arguably, a huge segment of the audience gets more of a kick out of him than Jey Uso. Now, everyone has their favorites. The live crowd weeps for Jey Uso. They enjoy his matches. They enjoy his stories. I think Jey Uso's whole story arc for the last several years with the Bloodline till now, going out on his own, has been a very interesting, compelling story. The whole story arc with the Bloodline and Roman and all of it was tremendous. And so I still enjoy Jey, but it's such a slow burn of just will he, won't he? Is he bad? No, he's not. Is he going to fight Roman? No, he's not. Is he going to fight Jimmy? No, oh, there's tension, but we're good. Every week with Jimmy and Jey, it's we're butting heads, we're mad at each other, but then within 30 seconds, it's, yeah, we're fine. Meanwhile, LA Knight is on the sidelines, inching and getting closer and closer to that world title. But WWE never pulling the trigger on him. Why do you think that is? Is he too old? Not popular enough? Just not the fit that they're looking for? The world title's vacated. You have such an opportunity to freshen things up. And WWE may not be interested in going with Braun Breaker right now. I think that's okay. You can build him up later. You can take a longer road with Braun Breaker. And that is okay, as long as they keep the stories compelling and not just make him going around wanting to say sorry to everybody back and forth backstage. That segment on Raw just did not work for the whatsoever. Now that's clearly Jey vs. Punk's Saturday night's main event. LA Knight is not involved in any of this. I start to wonder, with Seth Rollins being out injured, is it a better move for LA Knight to become a bad guy? Bad guy, tweener.
I use track video game. I've always looked at strengths and weaknesses and where I can improve. Arcos smart sensors help track your game, and the Arcos app helps give you great insights just like we have on tour. Make a smart decision for your game today.
Frustrated. I think we already see some of that where he comes over and cuts his promos. Well, we haven't had the big one-on-one match of LA Knight versus CM Punk. Obviously, we didn't get the rematch of LA Knight versus Seth. Do you think a heel turn would be better for him? Or is he too popular and over with the crowd that it doesn't work? I don't like Jey. I think the WWE gets kind of stuck with these characters. They can't change them too much. They get kind of boxed in a little bit. And then a changing character doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I ask you, would you turn him heel or would you do something else? If this is all to get Punk with the world title, maybe then LA Knight can emerge and get a real shot. Seth is going to be out till after WrestleMania. It feels like right now your main players for that world title are Punk, Jey, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, and LA Knight. It feels like they've gotten closer and closer with LA Knight. They spin him up a little bit, give fans some hope that he wins a battle royal, he gets the Money in the Bank, and people think that's going to be the moment, and then they never pull the trigger on the guy. What's interesting is the crowd is still with him. Like 2 or 3 times being in the Money in the Bank and never winning a briefcase, even though the crowd really wants him to, being in title matches, title programs, and just never being crowned champion. Because if you take LA Knight right now, I don't think you can go anywhere in terms of on the card in programs, like going to the Intercontinental title. If LA Knight just all of a sudden just starts dropping down and starts feuding with Dom, I think programming Dom would be hilarious, but it's a step down. He's already been mixing it up as being a top guy. Why can't WWE ever go with what is considered the hot thing? Why, over the course of its entire history, is it always the other guy? It's not Daniel Bryan, it's Randy Orton, at a time period where people are itching for the change, and they never do it. I'm not saying Bryan and LA Knight are the same, but there is a pattern in WWE's history where, come on, you're not really listening to the fans. Now, I say that, and we're kind of talking about Jay winning the Battle Royal, right? And how much uproar there is of doing this again. And fans say, this is not what I want. It's really hard to tell anymore what's right or wrong. And I'm sitting here with you, and like, I'm not saying I'm right. There's clearly a giant fan base for Jey Uso. And like I said, I like his whole story arc with the bloodline and his character development becoming a solo guy. Is it the young kids? Is it the live audience? Are they just, that is the main focus? And he and everyone online, we're just a bunch of marks and don't know anything, and we're the minority of it all. Quite possibly. But at least on the TV screen, what I see every week, I see fans eating and cheering for Jey Uso, and then there's always this fan revolt against him. And then LA Knight right now, there's a huge groundswell of make him the guy, give him the title, especially because it's vacated. If Seth still had the title, I think we'd clearly be marching towards a CM Punk Seth Rollins WrestleMania or a Roman Reigns Seth Rollins WrestleMania match. I think you do still have some options with LA Knight this year. You have the Royal Rumble, you have Elimination Chamber, but they really got to write it in a way that makes sense. Because right now it feels like it's Jay, Punk, and Braun Breaker, and those are your contenders for your world title. If Jay gets the world title at Saturday Night's Main Event, I really don't see that being a long-term thing. And I do see him having a feud with LA Knight, with Punk, with Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and probably dropping the belt before WrestleMania, getting Punk to win the Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber in Chicago is where I think it's rumored to be. If not, it's already confirmed. But whether it's Punk or Jay winning at Saturday Night's Main Event and you got a brand new champion, or it gets delayed a little bit, you could still have LA Knight go on this whole quest and path of being disgruntled, bitter, wanting to get that belt. Look what happened in last year's Royal Rumble. Jey Uso won the Rumble, hitting John Cena and knocking him out. And then he opened up WrestleMania against Gunther for the world title. LA Knight could do the exact same thing. They could put the rocket on him and say, all right, LA Knight, you can win the Rumble because that's what the fans want to see. Let's reward that. And you could go off to WrestleMania to have a world title match. And that could be against Punk or Jay or Braun Breaker or whatever, and it could open the show. But if you're wanting that world title as one of the main events for WrestleMania Night 1 or Night 2, I don't know if they would go ahead with LA Knight getting that world title shot in that spot. The other option would be Elimination Chamber. You could have LA Knight win the Chamber as more of a bad guy. He could beat, again, if Chamber's going to be in Chicago, most people I think would say, okay, the road to WrestleMania is Punk gets screwed out of the Rumble again, finds his way to Chamber, wins Chamber, he lost last year's Chamber, he wins this year and he goes off to main event for the world title, or going after Cody's belt. But if you had where LA Knight won in Chicago against CM Punk for a number one contendership, either in the Chamber or a singles match, and you then get LA Knight to go on to main event. Do I think that you could get the title on LA Knight at some point? Yes. But even giving him the title doesn't mean everything is fixed. Even if LA Knight was swapped out right now and you had him going up against Punk at Saturday Night's Main Event, I think, one, that match makes more sense because of their history, their recent history, going head-to-head against each other all the time. I think fans would be way more into it. You wouldn't have such a negative thumbs down when you look at the stats on YouTube for Jey Uso and Battle Royal. Especially if the finish to Saturday's Main Event is a double DQ, the Braun brothers come out and they wonk it and you end up with no champion, well then you've at least given LA Knight the title match. They put him through with Punk, feud that has been working. Both guys get screwed, so fans feel like, oh, okay, all the heat goes on the Braun brothers, that's what you want. And LA Knight is more angry that he got screwed out of the whole title picture with Seth Rollins with a big injury. He never came back from that. Then he gets a clear title shot and it gets screwed over by the Braun brothers. Again, more motivation for LA Knight. They can get War Games and do something. Then you get to the Royal Rumble. And again, it could be a story for LA Knight to try to win the Royal Rumble because he keeps getting screwed over week after week, month after month. But it doesn't seem like that's the plan for him. That they don't really have a plan. It's more of, he's a good hand, he can talk on the mic when you need him to, and you can build some least programs around him. But he's not the center focus, like I said at the beginning of this. It's never an LA Knight story. He's just adjacent. He's a supporting cast member. Seth has been the whole story. Ron Breakker is just highlighted as the future. Unlike other meal services, every meal is made fresh, never frozen, delivered straight to my home, and made by over 180 celebrated chefs. Best of all, the meals are ready in 2 minutes or less. Try Cook Unity with today's special offer.
Everyone should have the opportunity to experience the career that they love, have the space to be able to learn new skills, and Merit America provide a full support system behind them to make sure that they're successful.
Well, what about guys like LA Knight, where you have fans really behind him, wanting more, wanting to see more? Why can't you do short title wins and title wins with guys like him? Sure, the Cody title is wrapped up with Cody, and maybe we'll get Drew McIntyre winning that thing. You never know. Drew gets it for 3 to 4 months. But why not reward the audience, both the internet wrestling community and the live crowd? Give him the world title. Why not? Watch the merch go through the roof. Fans are elated because they see somebody that they really like for a long time to get a title, to see how he does with the world title. And then the feuds change. You could bring back Gunther, and you get a Gunther versus LA Knight world title. AJ Styles moves up to the world title, fights LA Knight. Punk LA Knight, Jey Uso obviously, Ron Breakker going after him, because you have somebody that can bring the intensity, talk on the mic, and you can start building more stories. The thing with LA Knight has always been, they never give his character more. Like, there's no extra layer. Punk, as an example, has layers. Roman Reigns has layers to his character. Cody has layers. With his story, with his dad, Punk, his whole history with WWE, coming back, his wife coming in, Seth with the Shield, and the Vision, and Becky, all of these things, Paul Heyman, Roman, like I said, with the Bloodline, his entire history, all of these characters have so much depth and history and layers to them. And LA Knight still feels like, yeah, where they haven't tapped into, show me more of him, his character, a sit-down interview, more behind LA Knight. Because while I am so entertained by him as a kind of throwback to the days of old, of the late 1990s, 2000s, where it feels like a hybrid of The Rock and Austin, two people all mashed in together, I really do enjoy it. He feels like a wrestler and entertainer that has pulled multiple pieces of the puzzle together to something that fits for him and obviously fits for the audience because they react and respond to him. Why not give him the belt for 3 months and just see what happens? Especially the world title. It's not the Cody title that they are making sure that that is the representation of the company. Remember in the Attitude Era, Kane won the title for a night and then lost it the next night on Raw? I'm not saying do that with this guy, but you can have short reigns. Austin had only a couple of title reigns, and they were short. He would get the title and lose the title because he would get screwed out of it and come back bigger and bigger and stronger and stronger. Those stories work for a reason. If the guy hasn't even had one title reign, it's like this really rarefied air. It almost feels like a weird thing of, we don't want to elevate these guys to that spot. Is there a bigger plan down the road? Very possible. If LA Knight doesn't win the title in the next couple of months, or win the Rumble, or win Chamber, do you think it's kind of over for him? And I don't mean over like he's released and gone. Do you think it's just kind of over of WWE and even the fans being invested in him, keeping him at the title scene towards the top of the card? Do you think then he will just start rolling down to US Intercontinental title and having these kind of one-off feuds where maybe he'll fight Dom for a month. Oh, he's just in something with Dragon Lee for some reason. Or he'll fight Rusev and Sheamus. But I do look at someone like an LA Knight, and I get reminded a little bit more of Punk 2011, of Daniel Bryan, even a Dolph Ziggler, I'll throw in there, of guys that the crowd pops, the crowd is behind this person, they want to see them do more, they want to see them get a world title, and then it's never really done. They never really pull the trigger. Let's hang up with LA Knight. That's what I asked you. Thank you so much for joining me for this conversation, because I just wanted to deep dive a little bit more about this. If you guys want to talk about Jey Uso and kind of what the implications are of this whole thing, click this video right here to go in depth about this, and maybe it wasn't the right decision for WWE to do this. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you guys can. Have a good day. See ya.
Back in the day, you met sinners just to get boys.
Word.
Now I take them to make threes.
The men's NBA Finals, everybody does everything.
Ant-Man, SGA, Luka. We was playing 1 through 5.
Big fish now like family dinner.
Got me smashing triple doubles. Shaq, basketball. I burgers.
New customers bet $5 and get $300 if your bet wins. Paid in bonus bets. Plus, get 3 months NBA League Pass on us. The crown is yours.
So 2025 in WWE has really been centered around Seth Rollins. We're going to go through the timeline here. From WrestleMania 41 to today, with Seth Rollins being out and injured, how did this story go, despite it being cut short? All of this started at WrestleMania 41. Main event, night 1, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk versus Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman in the corner, CM Punk, a favor was involved. All of the build-up, the lead-up to Mania, they had some moments where felt like they were spinning their wheels a little bit, trying to get to this main event, but things really picked up in the last final weeks from what I remember watching this whole thing. And then Mania 41, you did get the nice big swerve. You had Paul Heyman turn his back on CM Punk. You had Paul Heyman turn his back on Roman Reigns. And he aligns with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins getting the victory at WrestleMania. So the next night on Raw, you get Braun Breaker showing up, and he aligns with Seth Rollins. They take out CM Punk and Roman Reigns. The division starts taking shape. Now, the WrestleMania main event, I think that this was one of the best matches of the show, and from just memory itself, and my memory is quite shot these days, I really did enjoy that main event. Much more than Night 2 main event, let's be honest. You don't need to revisit that. But that was a great main event. And it kick-started something new and fresh and unique, different, Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman alliance, something we haven't seen, and it really had me intrigued of, wow, what directions could they take with all of this? And you soon find out that they did certain things that were great, and certain things that were just rinse and repeat. We're focusing more, too, on the PLEs, and including Saturday Night's main event, because that's where all the big story beats do really show. In May, we had Saturday Night's main event, and you had a tag team match. You had Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins tagging up against Sami Zayn and CM Punk. That feels like a lifetime ago. Sami Zayn has then gone to SmackDown, he's become United States Champion, he's lost the United States Championship. Not happened for Sami Zayn, but you did have the reveal of Bronson Reed aligning with Braun Breaker and Seth. And the vision started to really form and take shape. Bronson Reed was taken out, Sami Zayn and Punk during this. And the interesting part of this alliance was the fact that Bronson Reed and Seth had a feud earlier in the previous year, 2024, and you had Bronson Reed just demolishing Seth Rollins. So it was unique in that you had a guy like Reed making his return after injury from War Games the prior year, and he's put into this spot. I thought it was great. I didn't love the whole reasoning behind it, because it felt a little clunky in that you have Bronson Reed and Seth who are fighting each other, but then all of a sudden they're okay, because kind of just out of respect for each other. So the reveal of Bronson Reed, good. It helped elevate, I think, that match and the moment at Saturday Night's main event, because now you had much more of a full faction to work with. Now this is when also you started to feel like Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed were becoming Seth's henchmen. They'd come out in the black suits, and they're behind Seth. Seth doesn't have the World Championship yet. It felt like J&J security a little bit. And it's interesting, too, as you look at the evolution, so to speak, of the Vision, the faction, and how they evolved the characters. It is interesting that in a short period of time, less than a year, how each one of these characters did evolve. Breaker was coming from the Intercontinental title and the IC division, moving up into almost the world title scene, dog barking and figuring out kind of his role, and really the spear and all of that becoming kind of like a focal point centerpiece for his character. He just is chaos and he's fast and he destroys everything. And Bronson Reed coming back and going from this kind of henchman role with Seth to evolving into the Shrew of Fala and the Tribal Thief character and kind of branching out, which was kind of cool. Now, I know there's stuff that happens in Raw and SmackDown in between all of these PLEs, and you have moments as things progress on Raw every single week, but let's be honest, a lot of the time it was Tsunami, Spear, Vision beatdown, Vision promo. We'll talk about a little bit more of it to go along in the timeline here, so I'm just throwing that in there that
We did get a lot of that. Don't worry, I don't forget about that. So the next thing, we had Money in the Bank. On this Money in the Bank ladder match, it was pretty clear that Seth was going to win. You did have the likes of Jacob Fatu in the match and LA Knight that really stood out. No one else really felt like they had a clear shot of winning Money in the Bank other than Seth. He was the main story. The Money in the Bank ladder match itself was good. I liked the move from Solo and Jacob, and you did have the potential of LA Knight winning Money in the Bank. It was kind of a long shot, but it was our only hope. And he didn't win. Seth Rollins wins Money in the Bank to put more emphasis on Seth at this point. So let me fast track and go to Night of Champions. The big match of Night of Champions was John Cena, CM Punk, WWE Championship. This match and feud built into like just a matter of weeks. And remember, we're also dealing with heel Cena, which it feels like a lifetime ago that that happened. You had Punkonomics, used to go back pipe bomb from John Cena to CM Punk. But in there, you did have a moment where Seth Rollins was teasing the cash-ins. And I really liked this part because you had Seth come out on Raw, I believe, where Cena and Punk are in the ring together, but Seth is teasing that he would cash in on John Cena. Was he going to go for the world title? Was he going to go for the WWE Championship? With a heel Cena as champion, would that end the reign early? So a lot of question marks in there, but I like that Seth was coming out with the Vision and teasing the big cash-in moments. Seth does interfere with the Vision. It ends in a big, wonky finish. I had to go back and rewatch this because I was like, oh wait, in my head now, I was like, Cena's a good guy. Like, no. In this match, Cena's still a bad guy. So I had to rewatch and make sure that I got all the facts straight. Because Seth comes in, and towards the end of that interference piece, you did have a stomp from Seth to Punk, and Cena slid in, and that's why I was like, oh, Cena doing the cheap stuff. Oh yeah, because he's a bad guy. And then Cena retains the WWE Championship. Seth kind of gets screwed, but he was trying to stop CM Punk from becoming champion. Seth's whole MO throughout all of this with the Vision has largely been, I'm going to stop CM Punk by any means necessary. Prior to WrestleMania, you have a Netflix debut episode, Raw, where you have Seth versus Punk. The whole feud has been going on so long since Punk returned to WWE Survivor Series. And so this whole story arc for Seth, even with Money in the Bank to this point, really about making sure Punk doesn't get the belt. I thought the Night of Champions match, I mean, it's just a cash-in tease thing. It was cool that you did have Seth teasing the cash-in.
Okay, Crazy's touchdown on
Tennessee Titans. Music City Miracle. I called it.
Is that what?
Yeah, I told everybody he was about to see.
You didn't tell nobody nothing. That's a fib.
New customers bet $5 to get $300 if your bet wins. Pay instantly in bonus bets.
But you're getting a lot of the same cast of characters getting involved in there, like Sami Zayn's getting involved in Even the Odds against Braun Brothers. But at that point, I like that Seth was mixing it up with Cena and the WWE Championship, so you didn't know which way it was going to go. The next move, Saturday night's main event, Goldberg's retirement. Remember that? Then Spencer cut his whole retirement speech short at the end. But one of the matches was Seth Rollins versus LA Knight. Yeah. So LA Knight is getting week after week, he's still involved with this, and to this day, we're still dealing with this. Same cast of characters, ladies and gentlemen. This Saturday's main event, these two guys go one-on-one, and in the match is where you have the injury of Seth Rollins. Seth does a flip, looks like he lands on his leg and his knee awkwardly, goes into the corner, falls down, and acts like he is totally injured, because if we revealed later, he was faking the whole thing, and they wrote him off TV. What did you think about that match and that moment, in retrospect? Seth's faking the injury for storyline. He did a wonderful job, because nobody knew. We would hypothesize here, which I'm not doing, and we talk about, is he really injured? What this means if he's not injured? What does that mean? And all the conversation was around, is he legitimately injured or not, and the implications of that. The talk and chatter you were having during the match, LA Knight and Seth and the referee, it looked like in the match that Seth was communicating to the ref, like, go for the pin, like, let's end this match, just go home. And LA Knight not knowing what was going on. This is a piece I just have a question. I have a question legitimately for LA Knight at the WWE. Was LA Knight in on it? Did LA Knight know that Seth was faking the injury for storyline? Or did they go with it to protect Seth and the story? So Seth playing along with it was such a great thing to do. That he would go and talk about how he's going to get checked out, his knee is too swollen, they can't see what's going on. And then we get to SummerSlam. Now, in between that, we do have to talk about every single week on Raw. Seth was off TV because of this, quote, injury that he was being taken out, and you did have Braun and Bronson staying around on TV every single week with Paul Heyman, and between this period, SummerSlam and post-SummerSlam, this is when it really started to feel like WWE hit their big lull with this entire story arc. What I mean is the repetitive Braun Bronson beatdown DQs, ending Monday Night Raw, and then we get to SummerSlam. Punk, Gunther, they have their SummerSlam match for the World Heavyweight Championship. CM Punk wins the world title, and in that moment, when Punk holds up the belt, Seth Rollins' music hits, he comes out in crutches, throws them away, and cashes in on Punk, taking the belt away from Punk, denying him of the World Heavyweight Championship. Again, going back to the whole story and theme of this entire feud is to stop CM Punk by any means necessary, and Seth Rollins is your new World Heavyweight Champion. He swerved everybody. I really did enjoy this moment at SummerSlam. Was there a chance it was going to happen? Totally. But it's the unpredictability, it's not knowing, it's the fun of it. And I did really enjoy this moment at SummerSlam. I thought the Gunther Punk match also on its own was really good. And Punk's face is just priceless in a great way. The exhaustion that Punk shows holding up that belt when Seth's music hits, it just hits you. Because you feel for the guy. He went through this grueling match with Gunther, and he has to hear his music, and he knows what's about to happen. I love that. So the Vision is now totally strong and just built right back up. But again, this is post-SummerSlam. This is where we start to see a lot of the issues creatively, where they were going. This is when I, as a viewer, as your wrestling analyst of sorts, on the internet, gobbing and gooing out of my mouth hole every day, talking about this, this is when so many fans and people online would really start to notice things were dipping. Same rotation of characters in the main events of Raw, and it was just insert wrestler ABC. It was getting to the point where you would have Jay, LA Knight, CM Punk, Jimmy rotating around, whoever was in that main event, and then you'd have Vision come down. Or you would have Vision in the ring, Braun and Bronson, and they beat up LA Knight, CM Punk, Jay's music would hit, so Jay Uso runs down and does his little shimmy run down, right, like he's ducking, and no one can see him. He run into the ring, and even the odds against Braun and Bronson. Insert any which way you wanted to do it. Punk would do it, LA Knight would do it, and do the beatdown, Braun and Bronson would beat down, come down from the ring. It was the same thing every single week, not to mention the beginning of Raw was almost always promos from the Vision. 15-minute long promos, not to mention the introductions of Raw. You'd have 6 to 8 minutes of nothing, followed by waiting for Seth to talk, do a generic Vision promo, how they run Raw, the end. Now I'd love to know right here, before we continue on with our Clash in Paris, did you feel this? Did you feel that this was the big issue around this period with this whole faction, what they were doing? Or did you hate all of it from the get-go? So Clash of...
I always tell my students, why guess when you can measure? Arcos is an amazing system that helps you measure and track your shots while you play, see your statistics after you play, and also helps you with real-time adjusted distances on the course. Play smarter with Arcos.
It's easier than ever to get heard and get paid on SoundCloud. Simply upload your tracks, and with just a few clicks, submit your tracks to get recommended to the right listeners and start getting paid for your plays. All it takes is an upload, only on SoundCloud.
We get the Fatal 4-Way. LA Knight, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso for the world title. This is when I felt it was peak Vision, Seth, repetitive storytelling. So all these guys in the ring, and Seth Rollins retains the world title, but this is where Becky Lynch gets involved. She low blows CM Punk, and Seth retains the title. And now you've introduced Becky, the IC champion, into this whole story, aligning with her husband and the Vision, and it added a new wrinkle and element. I enjoyed this ending. I enjoyed this finish. I didn't think at the time that Seth had any chance of losing the belt. It didn't make much sense. But I think a lot of fans were groaning at this point that things felt exactly the same old. And you added an interesting new element in Becky coming in here. So I did like this shakeup, and then it obviously led to what was happening next. Now, but this is where they started to really divide things. You had now Seth and Becky prominently featured together as the bad guy duo against AJ Lee and Punk. So we get a couple of weeks of promos and the beatdowns, AJ Lee's return, Becky and Punk going face to face, and Becky slapping Punk and beating him up. All that stuff is entertaining. This build to WrestlePalooza, I did enjoy. Obviously, the return of AJ Lee was something that a lot of fans really liked, but I liked the dynamics of Becky slapping and beating up Punk every week, and Punk not able to do anything. And I really did enjoy Seth and Becky's dynamic on the microphone, because Punk and AJ Lee, these two are just ridiculous. So I did really like how they built this thing up. But the issue I had in there was Raw and Bronson were totally separated. Even if you watch Raw every week during that period, I don't think you really know that Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Heyman were aligned with Becky and Seth. So we get the big WrestlePalooza match, right? You got the mixed tag match. Triple H is building WrestlePalooza as the next coming of SummerSlam, and it's going to come all over everybody. That's disgusting and nasty, that's what she said. But it was going to be this big grand show that got a big old grade of C from ESPN themselves, which was hilarious. This was the debut PLE on the ESPN new app platform that they were doing, and it didn't go over great. Now, the mixed tag team match, a lot of fun. A lot of just duo spots in there, a very long match, but it was fun. And you had the good guys with AJ Lee and Punk beat Seth and Becky, which was fine, but you assume that this was obviously going to set up more story, like AJ Lee and Becky going one-on-one perhaps, and they didn't do that. Because after WrestlePalooza, they had to pivot because they got a crown jewel. There's so many freaking PLEs and shows. It's like every 3 weeks, so like we have another show, we have another show, we have another show to go to. So we end Palooza, and we have to move on. And now we have to move on to Crown Jewel, where you have Cody Rhodes going against Seth Rollins, champion versus champion for Mega Ultra Championship of the Crown Jewel Championship and the Dynamite Diamond Ring. And they were battling after that. And they had a very good match. Now, the build between Seth and Cody, I thought, was pretty good, considering it's for just who is better wrestler and getting this one-night championship that they'll never wear and never use. I like the story they told because there is so much history of Cody and Seth together that it really did work. But then you have the big moment, and Seth goes to the top rope, which he doesn't always do, and he does a coast-to-coast headbutt, which I don't think he's ever done before, to Cody Rhodes, and he lands on the shoulder, and he's now out with injury. Immediately when Seth landed on the shoulder, you could see that he was favoring it, and yeah, it did not look good. However, Seth Rollins ultimately did win. He beat Cody Rhodes in the ring, which was great because I noticed that they were trying to position it higher and higher on the card, and giving Seth these wins, I think was the right move to do in retrospect. He wanted to keep that strong and the winning streak going for Seth. He lost here and there, yes, but the belt was getting elevated. And so once he went up against Cody and won, I think that was the right move to do because Cody could eat it wasn't for his title, and Cody could eat the loss, and it really doesn't affect Cody Rhodes. So unfortunately, all the news came out that Seth Rollins was injured after this match. So on Raw, you have a couple of key moments here before the big turn of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. Seth's promo at the beginning of Raw really was highlighting him, his selfishness, his ego. He beat Cody. He was Ultra Champion, double champion, got the ring. Seth is over the moon and making statements and points in the promo of he didn't need the vision. He doesn't need them. They don't need him. The separation of like these guys are off on their own and I'm on my own and I can do it all myself. Watching that episode of Raw, I thought really was doing a good job of highlighting Seth's ego and how he feels he doesn't even need these guys that he's brought in. So it's dismissing them. And then you have the facial reaction during the Braun Breaker, during all of that. It started to leave some clues during that episode of Raw. You also had a backstage moment between all of them and Seth doing it again. Now, before this, and even at like Crown Jewel, you were having Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Paul Heyman backstage saying, we're not going to help out Seth. What happens if he loses and doesn't win against Cody? They said they know what's going to happen. You know what to do. They were planting seeds. Again, in retrospect, you could see that they were planting some seeds along the way. Little things of like there could be deception there eventually. And I think that if the story did continue all the way to WrestleMania 42, and then even after that, and then we've got the breakup, then I think we would have seen even more of this. But they had to fast track it. So the end of Monday Night Raw, you've got the Vision standing tall. It ends in the normal way Raw seems to end. But then all of a sudden, Braun Breaker hits the spear on Seth Rollins, turning his back. Huge, huge pop. Didn't expect it. Came out of nowhere. They did it so well because they did it at the end with the credits rolling. It's like Triple H's little secret trademark move that he does in production. because we had that when like they had War Games and CM Punk returned. They rolled credits at the end and they did the wide shot and then Punk's music hit. Here, you had the credits rolling on screen and Braun Breaker hits Seth, turns his back, tsunami onto Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman raises their hands and stands tall. The following week on Raw, Adam Pearce announces that Seth Rollins is injured, is on the shelf, they have to vacate the World Heavyweight Championship. They played into it that he was injured from Crown Jewel against Cody, but all of this Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed stuff, this is what exacerbated. To the injuries, forcing Seth to vacate the belt, and he's injured. So then we get Punk is number one contender through all of this. Jey Uso wins Battle Royal and gets one of the more disliked results online that we've seen in quite some time. So Jey Uso, CM Punk, Saturday's main event for the vacated world title. Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Paul Heyman are all doing their thing, and Seth is gone to presumably WrestleMania or even after WrestleMania with the injury. The only thing I thought was missing throughout all of this, from the beginning, the inception of this at WrestleMania 41, the Braun Bronson's coming in, I felt like they were missing the backstage stuff that we saw so heavily during the Bloodline era. That's one thing that I think they did not do well with all of this. I needed to see more dynamics between Seth, Braun, and Bronson. And then I wonder, what would have happened if Seth didn't get injured? We're going to get bigger. How is Becky going to play into all of it now that she has to pivot and go completely separate again, doing her own thing? She's confronted Paul Heyman backstage, so they clearly air with that. And Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, don't know just yet what they're going to do. I think that overall, they had some good moments. Peaks and valleys, but some stuff really didn't work, and they spun their wheels with what felt like for several months in between the big storylines. So comment below. What are your thoughts on Seth Rollins' vision, the story, all of this, and where to go for WrestleMania? Click this video right here below if you want to talk more WWE topics. Have a great day. See ya.
Driving without insurance is against the law in virtually every U.S. state. But if you do this, you're still covered, and it's 100% legal. I wasn't even looking for this, but I'm so happy I found it. It's called Finance Buzz, and look at this, $47 a month for car insurance. Before this, I was quoted $159 a month, and they told me it was the best price. I trusted my gut, and now I'm able to pay less than a third of that. You don't have to believe me, but at least try it for yourself. It takes 2 minutes to get started and could actually save you a lot of money. Click the link below to try it out.
The government is banning this $39 electric lighter next month, and this is your last shot to get the original high-powered version. There's a new next-gen electric lighter out there, and it's the most brutal one you'll ever own. But here's the bad news. In just a few weeks, regulators will force the only company that makes it to completely neuter its design. That means sluggish ignition, a pathetic flame, and a lighter that just won't deliver like this beast does right now. The current version, called Lazara, is unlike anything you've ever witnessed. That's because it doesn't burn butane, propane, or any gas at all. Instead, it unleashes pure ion pulse technology, generating an 1800-degree plasma inferno, savage enough to slice through metal in seconds. It's 100% electric, completely windproof, waterproof, and can ignite anything anywhere, no matter the chaos. Lazara was originally forged for military combat because the Army demanded a lighter that could keep blazing through rain, blizzards, and Arctic cold.